Having a sketchbook is more than just having some fun. For me, having a sketchbook is also trying some new things and playing with some of your paints, trying some different things. Today, I want to show you my latest little thing to try. First of all, one of the things to think about with your sketchbook is to put some extensions in it. It's so much fun to have different shapes to work with. And this is my shape that I'm going to work with for my project. It's even got a little flap here too. Now what I want to make here is a garden. So I've started out, first of all, I drew some rabbits because I decided there should be rabbits in my garden. You know, as a wildlife artist, I like to have some animals in my work. So I've just drawn them in pencil because I want them to be buried in the bushes. And so right now I'm just working on my bushes. This is kind of neat. Started off first of all with some pencil. And you can see the pencil lines here. Just smishing them around, doing different marks with pencils. Just trying to get a sense of garden kind of mixed up stuff. Then I took a colored pencil, and that's what this gold color here is. It's just a colored pencil, and did some more smushing. Oh, and with the pencil by itself, I did erase some of it so that the marks, some are dark and some are light. You can see here some of them are dark and some of them are light. Some of them are heavy, some of them are thin. And now next thing I did is stenciling. And so I've taken and made a little stencil, and here it is here, of a leaf. And I've just flipped the leaf from one side to the other and put some leaves, and I use watercolor for my leaves. So you know there's going to be a little more watercolor in here as well. And after this, I'm now going to try some other materials. I want to try a bit of pastel, a bit of mark making with a number of different marks and see if I can't get this to look like a garden with lots of different textures. So I'll be back with the next part soon. Okay, well, I'm back at my garden, rabbits in the garden, and I've used some other things on there. I've used one of these really thick pencils and tried to do some, you know, dark marks in here, making them different shapes. I've also taken this pastel pencil. It's one of these Conte things, but any kind of pastel would work. And so what I did, first of all, I did the mark making with it, and although I liked that nice dark mark, I found it was too harsh. So then I took and used a very updated technique here. I just took a piece of old paper towel and just kind of mushed them down a little bit. And then I decided that they needed, you know me, I like to have some ink work. So I put some, did some drawing with this brush pen and got it set up. I've also, you can't really see this very well, but I've taken some wax and I've just kind of, just a hunk of wax, and I've just kind of done some marks on here with the wax that look like in the shapes of what I think the leaves and stuff will look like. And those will show up later, because when I've got all of my other marks done, I'm going to take and do some a background and put the background in with pastels, just rubbing it in, and so they will leave some nice light shapes where the wax is. So far, here's my rabbits in the garden. They're starting to look like they're in a garden now, don't they? And of course these little baby ones, they're hiding in the bushes here, and they're starting to get some color in them as well. So the next thing I think I need to do is I need to paint my rabbits, because I think it's time to paint them, and then I can start doing the next step. Hi, I'm back with part 2 of my rabbits in the garden. As you can see, I've painted all the rabbits, as I said I was going to, and I have them all set up. I even, I'm sorry to say, started to do a bit of the background. I just couldn't wait. I wanted to see how it worked out. I still have some more branches and things to do, which I'm going to use some of this orange color in here. I kind of like it, what's happening. Neat things happen. I use pastel for the background, and you can see the wax that I put in there all of a sudden starts to appear. That's kind of interesting. I want to put a few ferns dipping down inside. So I'm going to draw a few more, see if I can add a few more marks before I go ahead and do the background. So the materials I've used in this stage are the watercolors. I've used this water-soluble oil pastel stick. It makes this neat blue color. And I've used some colored pencils, and I've taken some pastel pencils and laid them on the side so that I can make them powdery and get some wide marks. Okay, so I'll be back soon with the last phase of my rabbits in the garden. Very exciting. The rabbits are in the garden, and they really are in this garden. Have a look at what happened. They're really hiding. Oh, and don't forget who's hiding over here. There's the babies. As you can see, I took and I used colored pencil, I used pastels, and a variety, and just filled in the squares. One of the other things I did is I went and I put some more ink work here. You can see I put some ferns in here, and I kind of liked these kind of white things that are happening. Did some spots in these petals here. And as you can see, those old petals that I did with the stenciling, they look kind of neat how they kind of fit in with everything here. Look at all the fun stuff you can do. Makes a great little project. I had a lot of fun doing this, and it sure looks neat in my book, I must admit. This kind of white stuff here is where the tape is, where I've extended the pages, and you're just kind of stuck with that. But I can live with that. Now this isn't the only garden that I did. I'll show you my other garden. This garden here is done in blacks with just a little bit of color. And here I also did some blanking out so that you can see when I rubbed the charcoal around, I kept some spaces absolutely white. So this is a fun one too, and it's just using all different mark making, and now it's in blacks. And again, if you use that wax, you get some neat things happening. Look what happens here when you rub some charcoal on the page and there's wax underneath. There's like little surprises that just come up out of nowhere. And of course the tape again kind of makes a neat effect because now the charcoal doesn't stick to it. Isn't that a neat kind of thing to look at? I think it's kind of interesting, and I'm really pleased with how it all turned out. So, I hope you enjoyed this project, and you'll give it a try, and maybe make your own rabbits in the garden.